If you're over 60 and taking supplements to protect your bones, what if I told you some of them might actually be making your bones weaker, not stronger, weaker? Could the very pills you trust to prevent fractures and osteoporosis be silently sabotaging your health? What if something as simple as a daily multivitamin was contributing to falls, joint pain, or even bone density loss? And here's the kicker. You probably started taking them because someone said it was the smart thing to do. But what if the science has changed and no one told you? Stick with me because we're about to unravel a story most people haven't heard. And it's not just about supplements. It's about how your body changes after 60, why some common nutrients stop working the way they used to, and what you can do today to actually support your bones rather than harm them. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because we're not just talking about pills, we're talking about the truth your health deserves. So let's get to it. Let's start with one simple, uncomfortable truth. What once helped you might now hurt you. Not because the supplement changed, but because you did. And aging isn't a problem, it's biology. Your body's metabolism slows down, your hormone levels shift, your absorption of nutrients from food becomes less efficient. Your kidneys and liver process things differently. That's just how it works. And the tricky part? The supplement industry doesn't adjust for any of that. The label still says what it always did. The dosage hasn't changed, but your body has. Let's take calcium, for example. For decades, it was the holy grail of bone health. And of course, your doctor may still suggest it. But here's what's rarely mentioned. Once you hit your 60s, your ability to regulate calcium declines. Excess calcium doesn't just float around harmlessly. It can get deposited in soft tissue, your arteries, your joints. It's called ectopic calcification. And instead of strengthening your bones, too much calcium from supplements, especially if it's not paired with the right cofactors, can increase your risk of heart disease and kidney stones. You're trying to help your bones, and meanwhile, you might be stiffening your blood vessels. That's not health, that's a trap. But wait, doesn't your body need calcium to build bones? Yes, but only when it's delivered correctly. Calcium doesn't work in isolation. It relies on vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, and even adequate stomach acid to be properly absorbed and directed where it belongs. Without that support team, you could be causing more harm than good. Now here's where it gets worse. As we age, we naturally produce less stomach acid. It becomes harder to break down certain minerals. That over-the-counter calcium carbonate you've been taking, it's the form that's hardest to absorb, especially if your stomach acid is already low. You see where this is going? And now you might be thinking, all right, so I'll just take a calcium-magnesium combo instead. That's safer, right? Not so fast, because even magnesium has a dark side when taken in the wrong form or without proper balance. High doses of magnesium oxide, for example, can lead to digestive distress, diarrhea, and impaired absorption of other critical nutrients. And get this, chronic overuse can actually lead to calcium loss in the urine. That's right, you're taking it to protect your bones, and it might be flushing the calcium right out of you. Still with me? Good, because now we need to talk about vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. It helps your body absorb calcium, regulates immune function, supports mental health. It's critical. But taking it in excess, it throws everything off balance. It pushes calcium into your bloodstream. And if you don't have enough vitamin K2 to guide that calcium into your bones, guess where it ends up? Again, arteries, kidneys, joints. It's like building a house with bricks but no blueprint. Things get placed in the wrong spots. And in the body, misplacement equals inflammation, stiffness, and risk. You may have heard of people developing calcified arteries while taking large amounts of vitamin D. That's why. And here's something wild. After 60, your body doesn't convert vitamin D from sunlight as efficiently. So you might take higher doses to make up for it, only to create a new problem if you're not balancing it correctly. That's why D3 always needs its partner, K2. Not just K, but specifically K2. Especially MK7, which stays in the body longer and does a better job at activating osteocalcin, the protein that locks calcium into your bones. And guess what? Most multivitamins don't include enough of it, if they include it at all. You see how complex this gets? That brings us to multivitamins. Harmless, right? Just a little insurance policy? Maybe not, because multivitamins are often packed with synthetic versions of nutrients, like folic acid instead of folate, or cyanocobalamin instead of methylcobalamin, a form of B12. These cheaper forms are harder for aging bodies to process, and if you have a common genetic variation, like MTHFR, which affects 30 to 40% of the population, your body may barely process synthetic folic acid at all. Instead, it builds up in the bloodstream, potentially increasing the risk of cancer and masking B12 deficiencies, all while you think you're doing something good. And let's talk about iron. Do you still need an iron supplement after 60? Maybe, but maybe not, especially if you're not menstruating and you're eating meat regularly. Excess iron builds up in the body over time. It doesn't just get flushed out, and too much iron creates oxidative stress. It rusts you from the inside out. That's not poetic. That's literally what's happening at the cellular level. Oxidative damage, accelerated aging, mitochondrial dysfunction. It's the kind of thing that speeds up the very issues you're trying to prevent. And yes, there are people who still need supplemental iron, like those with diagnosed anemia or absorption disorders. But the key word here is diagnosed. Taking iron, just in case after 60, is not only unnecessary, it could be dangerous. Zinc is another tricky one. It's essential for immunity, wound healing, and even taste perception. But many seniors take zinc in high doses, thinking more is better, and that's a problem, because too much zinc suppresses copper absorption, and copper is critical for collagen production, heart function, and, guess what? Bone health. Throw that balance off and you're weakening the very structure you're trying to support. So what do? Just stop all supplements and hope for the best? Not quite. But what you do need to do is stop taking supplements blindly. Especially after 60. Your body's nutrient needs have changed. Your absorption has changed. Your risks have changed. What worked when you were 40 might not only be ineffective now, it might actually be harmful. That's not fear-mongering. That's what current research combined with basic physiology tells us. That's why you need to rethink your approach entirely. Instead of megadoses and guesswork, think targeted, functional support. Ask, what does my body need right now? Have I checked my vitamin D levels, my ferritin, my B12? These are not expensive tests, but they give you real data, and that data can guide your decisions. And while we're at it, let's look at where these nutrients come from. Are they synthetic? Are they in forms your body can actually use? Are they in balance with each other? You wouldn't drive a car without checking the oil. You wouldn't take a prescription without knowing what it does. So why take a handful of supplements without understanding their effect on you? Because here's the thing. It's not just about bone density scores or lab results. It's about your life, your independence, your ability to move, to walk without fear of a fall, to enjoy your grandchildren, to travel, to garden, to dance. That's what this is really about. Every pill you take should be helping you live that life, not quietly undermining it. If you're over 50 and your joints ache when you get out of bed, go upstairs, or just try to enjoy a walk, it's not your age and it's not your fault. The real issue? Your body's running out of a natural substance that cushions your joints like a shock absorber. And most supplements out there, glucosamine, collagen, all of it, don't fix this. But now, researchers have discovered a breakthrough that can actually restore what your joints are missing. And people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are seeing real relief. If you're feeling stiff, sore, or weaker lately, stop guessing. Check the link in the pinned comment now. Let's keep going, because what you're about to hear may surprise you even more. If we've already dismantled the myth around calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, multivitamins, iron, and zinc, there are still a few more supplements commonly taken after 60 that might sound helpful, but under the surface, they may be doing more harm than good. And the next one is a big one. Vitamin A. You've probably heard that vitamin A is essential for vision, immunity, and skin health, and it absolutely is. But in high supplemental doses, especially the synthetic form known as retinol palmitate, it becomes toxic surprisingly fast. Unlike water-soluble vitamins that the body can flush out, vitamin A is fat-soluble. That means it gets stored in your liver and builds up over time. Now, If you're over 60, your liver doesn't process nutrients as efficiently as it once did. So guess what happens with years of excess intake? Bone thinning. That's right. Several large studies have shown that long-term high intake of vitamin A, especially in supplement form, is linked to an increased risk of fractures. It interferes with vitamin D's ability to support calcium absorption and bone formation. Even the World Health Organization has issued guidance around this because the evidence is just too strong to ignore. And here's what most people miss. If you're already getting enough vitamin A from your diet, like through eggs, dairy, or liver, you probably don't need extra at all. And yes, beta-carotene, the form found in colorful vegetables, is a safer version because your body only converts it into vitamin A as needed. But many people take both forms together, and over time, the risk builds. So unless a doctor has specifically told you to supplement with vitamin A, it's a good time to take a hard look at that bottle. And while we're talking about vision, let's slide right into another supplement that's wildly popular among older adults: fish oil. Now this one's a bit more controversial, because fish oil, specifically omega-3 fatty acids like EPA and DHA, do have strong research behind them when it comes to reducing inflammation, supporting heart health, and even brain function. So you might be thinking, wait, isn't that one I should be taking? Here's the twist. As with everything else, it depends on the dose, the source, and your specific needs. High-dose fish oil supplementation in people over 60 has been associated in some cases with an increased risk of atrial fibrillation, a heart rhythm disorder that significantly increases the risk of stroke. In fact, multiple clinical trials have started pointing in this direction, especially when the fish oil is taken in gram-level doses for long periods of time. And another factor? Oxidation. Fish oil supplements are highly sensitive to heat, light, and air. If they're not stored properly, or if they're low quality, they can go rancid before you even take them. What does that mean? Instead of reducing inflammation, they contribute to it. You end up ingesting oxidized oils that can increase oxidative stress, the very thing you are trying to avoid in the first place. And yes, that includes fish oil capsules that smell fishy. That's usually a sign they're already oxidized. So if you're taking fish oil, make sure it's from a reputable source, tested for oxidation, heavy metals, and contaminants. Or better yet, aim to get your omega-3s from actual fish, like wild-caught salmon, sardines, or mackerel, twice a week. Because in food, those nutrients are bundled with cofactors, antioxidants, and enzymes that make them more bioavailable and less risky. Now let's turn to something many people over 60 take daily without even thinking: antacids or acid-reducing medications. You might not think of these as supplements, but a surprising number of people self-medicate with over-the-counter antacids and proton pump inhibitors, especially if they have heartburn or acid reflux. The problem? These drugs interfere with your body's ability to absorb nutrients like calcium, magnesium, B12, and iron. And remember what we said earlier about stomach acid and calcium absorption? It's critical. When you chronically reduce your stomach acid, you not only impair digestion, you impair nutrient uptake. Your bones don't get the raw materials they need, and you may start to feel weaker, more tired, more prone to falls, all while thinking it's just aging. It's not just aging, it's biology responding to choices. And now that brings us to the final supplement on our list, one that's often marketed as anti-aging, brain-boosting, or metabolism-enhancing: resveratrol. This compound, found in red wine and grapes, exploded in popularity after studies suggested it could mimic some of the effects of caloric restriction and increase lifespan, at least in yeast and mice. But here's the catch: there's very little human evidence to support the claims. Most resveratrol supplements contain far less than what was used in animal studies, and some recent research has shown that high-dose resveratrol can actually inhibit the benefits of exercise on cardiovascular health, especially in older adults. That's right, it might block some of the natural adaptations your body makes when you work out. So if you're trying to protect your bones, your heart, and your metabolism through regular walking or resistance training, but also popping a high-dose resveratrol capsule every morning, you may be canceling out your own hard work. And for, what? A promise that hasn't even been proven in people yet? This is the trap we fall into. We assume more is better, that every new miracle supplement is our next ticket to health. But the truth is, the older we get, the less we need to rely on supplements, and the more we need to refine the ones we do take. That means testing, not guessing. That means focusing on food first. That means asking harder questions like, am I taking this because I was told to 10 years ago? Or because my body actually needs it today? Am I following old advice? Or making decisions based on current personalized information? Because there's a big difference between what's good in theory and what's good for you, your bones. Aren't just numbers on a scan. They're your support system for everything you love to do. Playing with your grandkids, getting out of a chair without help, traveling, laughing, dancing, living with independence. You deserve a body that supports that life. And every decision you make, every supplement you take, or don't, either builds that future or chips away at it. So if you've been taking these supplements without questioning them, now is the time to pause, not to panic, to pause. And then ask yourself what's really serving your health and what might just be serving a label or an outdated routine. Health is about clarity, simplicity, getting rid of the things that don't work so you can focus on what does. And now that you know the truth, you're already one step ahead. If this helped you understand your health in a new way, don't stop here. Tap the next video on screen, because what you learn in the next 5 minutes could be the missing piece to everything you've been working toward.